I am Doomsvince, and this is day 128, Spawn Year.
Cause and effect. It's not just the title of that insane Star Trek TNG episode where the Enterprise blows up before every commercial break and it turns out Kelsey Grammer was running the ship they kept running into. It's the law of the universe, in physics and in life. There are consequences to every choice we make. The more significant the choice, whether we realize it at the time or not, the more significant the outcome. That always becomes apparent, at least to someone. Unfortunately, life is an ongoing experiment. And we rarely get to test our choices in a hypothetical simulation before we try them for real to see what happens. If I knew I'd end up in Doomsvince's chamber of oddly devised horrors, I would never have drank that much Mountain Dew. More importantly, I would have been more responsible for the sake of my family. And I think so would have Al Simmons. This new existence of his is not worth getting one last glimpse of his wife. That's what this episode is about, as Todd McFarlane sets up in his introduction, and he says something that made me laugh out loud. He says, Al's got no one to blame but himself. And me. That's clever all by itself, but it's also ironic after dozens of comic books where Al only seems to do stupid, idiotic things not because it's in his character to begin with, but because Todd really wants his creature reborn from hell to be miserable, but he doesn't know how to do that without making him unlikable. This episode is the most faithful so far to the comics, and is, incidentally, my least favorite so far. There are a lot of different sets of characters all dealing with intersecting subplots, and at least they all logically connect already, investigating and expositing things. Spawn has very little to do because it's all about how his actions have already set events in motion, and then we're seeing those events, except that's not wholly true. So far, Al has nothing to do with the Billy Kincaid story directly. Indirectly, his wife is snooping around trying to solve that case because she defended an ex-child molester who is legitimately innocent. She proved it and got him off. Now she's working with a detective friend and starting to uncover the conspiracy we already know about. That Senator McMillan and Jason Wynn set her client up to take the fall for Billy Kincaid, the senator's son, and McMillan is running for president because Wynn blackmailed him to. I do like that Spawn has already involved himself in that thread by attacking a government photographer who is spying on Wanda. He blew his own brains out, and now Sam and Twitch are investigating that with no clue that the guy they're looking for already was involved. Speaking of involved, this is all a lot to keep straight, but McElroy does a much better job weaving this whole tapestry of intrigue and connecting it all believably to Spawn than McFarlane did. A lot of this show for me is, oh, that's what McFarlane was trying to do. The reason I say it's my least favorite so far is that all these individual scenes of people hiring other people to investigate things or kill people to tie up loose ends is all a little tedious, and while Spawn's actions have led to Twist being forced by Wynn to find him, despite their arrangement that Twist is to leave Spawn alone, because the Roman Mafia is angry at Twist about the destruction of Overkill, just like the comics, who they loaned him, among other things I've mentioned already, there's just nothing for Spawn to do right now. I'm finally beginning to empathize a little with Spawn's countless hours mulling over things in the alleys. When McFarlane wrote it, it felt like Spawn was so disenfranchised with the loss of his old life, he refused to start any kind of new one, even when opportunities presented themselves. And that's just no fun to read about. Here, McElroy is struggling with using McFarlane's original ideas while trying his darndest to make Spawn compelling. He's subconsciously drawn to Rat City. He can't go home to his wife and doesn't know he was murdered, I don't think, so he can't go after his killer yet. And happily, McElroy seems to be waiting to reveal that more naturally than, and now Bolgi conveniently puts it in his head, and Spawn solved his one big problem so far in Tony Twist. His alley bum friend tries to comfort him. Spawn asks to be left alone, but he's really polite about it compared to his comic counterpart. And both his friend, whose name turns out to be Garib, I guess Bobby is actually the guy who openly doesn't like Spawn, even though Garib looks just like Bobby in the comics, and Cog suggests he go do something instead of sitting around thinking so much. Cog, 2 episodes ago, you told Spawn to have some forethought before he acted. Now sure, I want Spawn to be proactive too, but the trouble is, this material gives him no clear direction. Every other major character has something to investigate, or in the bad guys' cases, people to kill or manipulate. But Spawn's been written into a corner, which is why we get pointless scenes that are too close to those time wasters in the comics, like a dream sequence and Clown rambling about how the darkness surrounds Spawn. Oh well, at least he remembers where he stashed his freaking guns in this continuity. I'm impressed with McElroy for tying all these seemingly unrelated scenes together, both plot-wise and thematically, with the domino effect motif. This show could easily have been one broken up string of events that should all be watched together, but had to be aired episodically, and instead, they really have been self-contained stories that are building a grander narrative. The only scene that stood out to me as just a new plot thread set up is Angela, who complains to Gabrielle that she's not being assigned to hunt Spawn since she killed the last 2. Like in the comics, Gabrielle has some sort of beef with Angela we're not told about and likes to be a thorn in her side. And I still wonder what people in New York think that epic steeple skyscraper is for. I think it's fun we don't see her in her skimpy warrior garb right away, and we have to wait for that, and she has that same spunky attitude Gaiman wrote her with. Some gangbangers try to rape her in the alley, though she pretends to consent to their dirty, perverted wishes, so I don't know why they brandish knives, and she has a great line: "Good hunting is wherever you can find it." I feel the same right now about good TV viewing. This was okay, but I've been waiting all day to get it over with so I can launch into a Dominion War marathon. I'm still afraid I'm going to pay for all this fun I'm having later. But right now, I'm in the same boat as Spawn. I've got nothing better to do. Hey, that's all Spawn really needs, a DVD player. Signed, Captain Logan.